Hi, I'm Joshua Henry Jenkins, and you're watching hashtag Verse TV. Comment, thumbs up, share, and subscribe.
And it's week what? 114. We out here, y'all. Over 2 years strong. What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? If you hear my voice, you know what that means. It's time for all the tea right here on Verse TV with your boy Troy Weeks Music. Our one-on-one special. You know how we do. We get into the business of somebody's business. But today we got somebody very special. In addition to co-creating BGSAH, which stands for Black Gays Stuck at Home, you are also a fellow creative who provides consultation work to people in our communities and intersections, bringing ideas from ideas to execution. We will get to know right now on All the Tea, Sir Joshua Henry Jenkins.
What's up?
Oh yes, in the building, All the Tea. We're super excited to have you. So thank you again for being here. And, for doing your thing today on the show and being a part of it, and this part of it. We appreciate you. So let's get into it. So for our audience out there who may not yet know where you're from, let them know where you're from, and also on top of where you're from, tell us what you love most about your origin story of being where you're from.
So I am from, I currently am, well, I'm from North Carolina. I'm from a small town called Norlina, North Carolina. I swear it exists.
Norlina, y'all.
It does. It's literally, if you're driving down 85 going south, it's like the first exit into the state of North Carolina. Blink and you miss it. But ironically enough, that's like kind of the thing I love most about my origin story is like being from a rural, small town. I know so many people that got the benefit of a upbringing in the city and the benefits of having access to things and culture and that kind of stuff. I was really like sort of like secluded in the middle of the country growing up, but I think that made me really super humble and has really created a lot of passion for things later in my life that I didn't get access to early on. So I kind of love, I now I can own and love the fact that I'm from the middle of nowhere, which is kind of a shady kind of way of saying, like, small town, but because there's a lot of stuff in the middle of nowhere too, which is
That's true.
something I had to learn and embrace.
There's a lot of amazing people out in those small towns, people like yourself. So if you didn't come from a small town, we wouldn't even know you.
For
So
sure.
shout out to your small town. And being that we're talking about small town and we some previous generations, where are your family roots? Since you come
So,
from a small town.
so I'm biracial. My father is super white from West Virginia, like deep in the sticks of West Virginia. And conversely, my mother is from New Orleans. And so they had two very different experiences and somehow came together to have me. Neither one of them being from North Carolina. So it was kind of interesting growing up, going back and forth between my mother and her side of the family, deep in the South, and my father having a very different kind of upbringing. I also like grew up with parents who were significantly older. So my father was 55 when he had me. My mother was 40 when she had me. So I grew up with older parents, and so I never knew my grandparents. I never knew any of those kinds of things. So I learned everything from my parents, and they had such vastly different backgrounds that was kind of weird when you're young and your father shows up and everybody thinks it's your grandfather and or maybe not even your grandfather who's this white man, but it's also it's really kind of I think now I can sort of learn to appreciate all of that more.
Wow, I'm just sitting here in awe, like, wow, like you really never know people, right? And all you see is what you see and what you
Mm,
perceive, or whatever the case may be. But listening to your whole, like even the fact of I don't know my grandparents, like
mm.
for somebody like me, like my grandparents were my rock. Like I wouldn't have life without them.
I
So
was
I'm like,
always so jealous when people would talk about that. Yeah.
wow, like hearing you say that, like it makes me understand, like not to sorry, my phone's dying. It makes me understand not to take things for granted, even though they're not here anymore. I did not take them for granted, and that was why, because there's some people out there who didn't get to experience that. So, thank you for that, for being open and honest, because sometimes we don't know those things.
Yeah.
And we don't even get a chance to appreciate the fact that somebody listening right now who has grandparents who don't fuck with their grandparents. So
Yep.
hopefully, you being able to say what you said can help them understand. Like was too short. Like I never even knew my grandparents. Like enjoy them. So yeah, I had to take that moment. Back to the interview. Um, you are someone who effectively wears many hats. Please give us a Burst TV family sip of all the tea on how you connected with Michael Ward to mutually create and develop BGSAH.
So people don't know this. Most people don't know this, but Michael and I have never actually met in person. We've been social
Well, I
media.
knew this,
Oh, you
but
y'all probably knew because y'all
only I
talked to
knew.
him. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. But I don't even think the people that come to our screenings really even remember this often. But yeah, he and I've never met, but like we have been. You get friends on Twitter, you get friends on Facebook or whatever, and you always are sort of like talking to them or whatever, and you think maybe one day you'll cross paths or whatever. But at the beginning of the pandemic, he had an idea of wanting to show a film with a couple of his friends, and I wanted to see that movie too. And I was like, we should make this a thing. Everybody's stuck in the house, and so we just said, let's get people together on a Zoom, and then we put it on Eventbrite. And next thing you know, the film being Punks by Patrick Ian Polk and the creator of Noah's Ark. And uh, yeah, 500 people decided they wanted to come. And then this thing, we were like, oh shit, we should probably do it again because we're still stuck in the house. Um, and so a year later, we're still doing it because people are still, some people were in the house to begin with, or, some people, need outlets that allow them to be able to connect with people meaningfully. And so we're still here doing the thing a year plus later, which is kind of wild.
Yes, that's kind of crazy because me and Aaron have never met each other either. And we've
Oh,
been
I
working
love
together over
that.
2 years. We've been working together over 2 years now, but we've never physically met. It was even like that for some of my co-hosts. I never met them before, and I finally met them.
Yep.
It's because they live in Atlanta and I was in Atlanta, so it worked out. But yeah, so just keep doing what you're doing. So would you say that that moment of when you realized that 500 people came and the creators of the show had reached out, was that the moment you first realized that BGSAH was exactly the successful hit idea that the community needed, or was there another moment that was bigger than that?
I think that was the big moment. I think we were like, oh, people want this, and oh, Patrick is coming to the screening, and oh, like it just kept getting sort of like progressively more like we just stopped dreaming or stopping ourselves of doing things and just started asking. I think for me the big one was when I was like, I'm gonna ask Vanessa Williams if she's gonna come to the screening. And then she came and I was like, oh, like that's a big deal. So people were being when we started having like faces and celebrities decide that they wanted to come and like talk to us and to a bunch of like queer folks and gay folks and spend their Friday night with us too. That's when I was like, oh, people really care, and like this is special for our communities. And I think that was when I was like, oh, this is what I call success, because the numbers are one thing, but the impact is different. And so people have been
Right.
so nice in sharing stories of like, I came to BGSAH when my, to commemorate the anniversary of my loved one's passing, or I came because I was having a really tough week. People are sharing sort of these deeply personal stories, and that's what I
Mm-hmm.
sort of think of when I think of success, because people didn't have to come and hang out with us, but they did.
Well, all right. All right now. So y'all doing amazing things. Just keep it up. That's all. Just
Thanks.
keep it up. I heard about the Vanessa Williams. I heard about all that. So it's just amazing to hear that the impact that you guys are having in communities. Like, if you could just dream big enough, it could be simple. And one thing before I move on is you said I reached out to Vanessa Williams. People don't realize that it's really that simple with social media today that you can literally be in the contact with people that you want to be able to work on things. And so
Yep.
I do that too when I want to work in celebrity. Like even we had an interview here a couple weeks ago. Shout out to Imani Van Zant. She's Imani Van Zant. She's one of the social media's auntie, number one auntie out here in these streets, and she's a commentator for Chasing Reality brand. And I fell in love with her, and I asked her, just like I told Aaron, I want her, and I just reached out to her, and she said, yeah, we had her, and we had an amazing time. So it's
Yep.
that simple. So I want people to understand that. Like, I'm not just saying that even though I said it and it happened, you're doing the same thing and it's happening. So y'all, it's
Yep.
happening. It's just real.
What's the
Just
worst
apply
people can say is
yourself.
no. All people can
No,
say
or
is
don't
no.
answer.
Right.
Right. And then to me, I like that because if they're saying no, they don't even give me a chance to even look into who I am, then I just said, okay, when I get to where I want to, that same person might come back around, and I'm gonna be able to say, well, you told me no.
Yep.
So I think I'm good. Power, okay. And so, and in other many ways of your great talents, you're also many hats that you wear. Excuse me, with your many talents, you're a graphic designer, and you sell some wonderful personally designed items on your website, JoshuaHenryJenkins.com. When did you realize that this is a professional grade of skill for yourself?
Sometimes we as people who have millions of side hustles don't think that our stuff's good. Like, don't think our stuff is good enough for, like, it's a side project or a hobby. So it's not like, I couldn't make money off of this, or I couldn't do this professionally or whatever. But I always knew that I wanted to create something that we could wear that celebrated, like, these kinds of either people that we couldn't get on shirts to begin with if we waited for them to be on shirts from corporations and whatever. And so I was like, it started with Octavia Saint Laurent, who is in Paris is Burning. I just like, she's like a pivotal sort of like uh character and not character person in the community that I really sort of loved. And so I was like, I just want to make a couple of shirts that honor her legacy since she's no longer with us. And from there it just snowballed into, well, let's put, like, I'm gonna put Sylvester on a shirt. All these sort of forefathers and foremothers of ours in the community, I wanted to honor them in a way that was kind of cool, because it wasn't just going to be a picture, like something interesting, but also was going to have some component of being able to give back. So most of the shirts do have some kind of charitable contribution tied to them, so that if people buy a shirt from Octavia, it benefits the Trans Women of Color Collective, all this kind of stuff. So I just wanted to sort of create a loop, another loop or another channel to be able to give visibility to people who don't get visibility from our communities, and then also simultaneously be able to give back to organizations doing work to amplify the voices of those who are currently living life.
Probably smart or something.
You could find me on the internet at joshuahenryjenkins.com. You can also find me on any of the social media stuff. Well, not any of them. I don't do TikTok. I'm too old at this point for TikTok, I think. But maybe not. I'm not going to cross it off the list. But
not just yet, right? Come on, you got to learn it.
It's on my phone. Instagram, Twitter is where I usually hang out, and you can find me at Josh Jinks. You can find me on Facebook, Joshua Henry Jenkins, as well. But wherever you can find me, I'm down to talk. I like to talk.